There was undercover cops there, or off duty, but in plain clothes or something in that regard. I'm not sure whether they kicked him out because they were, and then Jason was like, "Who are you?" Yard selling, PSLs, and summer ends way too soon. All this week on Inappropriate with Jim and Steve. Jim and Steve. Jim and Steve. Jim and Steve.
Welcome back to this stupid podcast.
Well, Steve, you want to open it with a quick joke?
Sure, go ahead. I mean, I'm Steve, and this is Jim.
How's it going, everybody? You should know us by now, right?
I guess you should know us by now. But, I mean, it has been a while.
Let me reintroduce myself.
My name is Steve.
And for all new listeners, because we hope that there's a few.
We definitely hope there's a few new listeners.
Sometimes a teacher or your boss goes around and says, "Hey, let's do a little quick icebreaker." So,
I'm awful. I was like preparing myself. I was like,
it's just a quick joke.
Oh, okay.
All right. If you have a taco emergency, who do you call?
I don't know.
911.
Gosh, I don't think you could do that one in school.
Today, you may have saw on Facebook or what have you, but I had a yard sale.
Yeah, I did see that.
This was the last yard sale I'll ever have. I'm putting it out there. So my basement is cleaner, and that
it is definitely a lot cleaner. In here.
Was
I mean, it's not like it was ever dirty.
No, but it's thinner.
Yes,
it's lighter.
Yeah, it's streamlined a little bit.
And that was the goal for the yard. My ultimate goal. Like, money was secondary. But of course, I have a flight of steps, and then I have to walk outside. So I made about 100, trips up and down the steps to get the stuff from my basement, which most of it hasn't been touched in 3 years, for the most part, out into my garage. And then this morning, I woke up at 6 a.m. because it was from 8 to 12.
Yeah, I guess yard sales are always like butt crack of dawn kind of thing.
You got to do them early.
That's when you get the good buyers, I guess.
I made signs. I made about 8 or 9 signs out of cardboard or whatever. So then I woke up.
We buy your house.
Yeah.
This kind of signs.
I drove around the area, the main roads and all, and I put out my signs, which took some time. Then I came back, and one by one, I put everything out in the goddamn driveway.
I mean, you are a family of 4. So
you would think there would be 4 helpers?
At least 3.
Well, Carter woke up about noon.
Okay.
Come outside in his socks.
Hair all like flopped out like that. Yeah.
Izzy helped. Izzy had a lemonade stand.
Okay.
And she was, a bee ran her off for about an hour. So it was unmanned.
Okay.
She made about $19.
Oh, good for her.
And she was bitching because there were some adults that came to the yard sale that did not buy lemonade.
I feel like if a younger girl is there selling lemonade, trying to, you have to don't be that person.
I mean, I've gone past lemonade stands before, and I didn't even want the lemonade. I just gave them $1. I said, give a free cup, or you guys, just whatever. So anyway, I have about 1,000 things in my driveway. And when I'm looking around, I'm like, I can't put prices on 1,000 fucking things.
Oh yeah.
So I'm kind of like walking around, and we had like a rush. I don't know, maybe total 30 people came, and that might be like not 30 different cars, but 30 people. It might be 2 people per car. Yeah. I sold about $200, I think, total of stuff. And I don't think I sold anything over $2. Because in my mind, I'm like, get it, like, here, okay, so the Spanish...
You're like the greatest yard sale person ever.
I am the guy that if you see me, you're like, let me go, because I'm giving it away.
Yeah,
I'm only charging you $1 or $2, so you feel like you got a good deal. If I said it was free, you would be like, oh, it's trash, right? So like to charge $1, then they stole it. But this Spanish family came up, and I was feeling extra generous, and I sold a sound bar, like a Samsung sound bar with the Bluetooth based subwoofer. a projector,
which was okay. So now we're that's like those two things are probably $450 together.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the
retail
projector.
Price.
I never opened it.
Jesus.
I used it for one of my YouTube videos when I remade the Oriole statue.
Yeah.
So about an hour. Put it back in the box in the styrofoam, and like I never touched it again. And then the sound bar, I put it on my TV upstairs. I bought it brand new. Used it for like a month, and I just never really liked the sound bar. Like it just wasn't my thing, so I took it off and whatever. So anyway, so it's been sitting down here. They bought a pair bought 2 pairs of shoes of mine, which were used. They were whatever. A shirt, a pair of Hey Dudes, 2 free book bags that I gave away.
Are like hot items now.
Yeah. Carter, used them and grew out of them, and they actually weren't tore up. Anyway, it was probably about $600 worth of stuff. I'm like, give me $30 and get the hell out of here.
Oh,
so they got the best deal. They
were probably so butt excited that they.
Yeah, no, and like it's like I didn't want them. But what's funny is there's other people that are different. Like I have these vintage Marilyn Monroe stamps, like a sheet of stamps, and I don't know. I've looked them up on eBay, and they're like $60. Okay. From varying degrees of 40 to 60. But stamps are forever. So you can still use the value of the stamp. Like you can find an ancient stamp and it's whatever the value is on it, you can put it towards your mail. The face value alone was $6.40 on the stamps. And I was selling them. This lady said, "How much?" I love Marilyn Monroe. I said, $10. She's like, I can't do it. Like, what the fuck? Like, if I sell it any cheaper, like I'm literally losing money.
Yeah. Oh,
she didn't buy it.
Really?
Yeah.
That is so funny.
It is just interesting. The mindset people have going. Like, if somebody touched something, I sold some used hats, like $2. I sold some new hats, and it was like $3. They're like, eh. I'm like, it's in the fucking wrapper. Like, you could probably return it.
God, they're just wheeling and dealing.
Yeah.
That is so funny. Did anyone try to pay with, like, did you have to use like Venmo?
I did do Venmo one time. And I had no issue with it. A guy was driving by. He was like, I happened to see the sign, and I was going to get mulch. He's like, I don't need
some
cash.
Hey Dudes.
And he bought an Xbox. I sold him an Xbox One, no controllers.
Is that the new one?
No, that's the older one.
Okay.
Xbox One with a game and 2 tins, probably 300 Pokemon cards for $20.
Dude, he probably made out on that. There's probably one card in there that's at least. Did you go through them and look?
Not a chance.
Yeah, I would never do that either. That's too much work.
Yeah. No. And ironically, he was doing the same thing that I did with Carter because his son that he's buying it for was about the age that I bought Carter the Pokemon.
Yeah,
Like I think every boy goes through at least a slight Pokemon phase. So Carter, back in the day, I used him as currency. I bought him used from some person online.
Yeah.
So we would go in the backyard to play soccer. Like if he scored a goal, I've had like 20 of them in my pocket. I'd give him 5.
All bent up and sweaty.
Yeah, I'd set them on the side.
Yeah.
But like that was currency. Like go outside and kick 100 balls in the net, and I'll give you 10. He'd be like, give me 15. And I'm like, fucking 15. I'll give you 15. And then he quickly realized that all of those are his anyway.
Yeah.
And the currency became worthless. I just gave them to him. And then they ended up in a bin in my basement, and then I sold them to somebody else.
That's so funny. Does he know they're gone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do your kids have any? Because you don't have any attachment issues to things.
Zero.
Like you'll buy something and then you'll get rid of it the next day if somebody was like, "I'll give you an extra $20 on top of it." You're like, "All right."
Yeah.
No.
Not that much. Now my wife, however, she could be here to defend herself, but there's no defense. She's had some shoes down here for 3 years. We've been here. This box of heels has been down here untouched for 3 years. I don't even know if they fit her anymore, but let's say they do.
I would hope her shoe size doesn't change.
Yeah, but like, probably fit her.
Yeah.
My wife has worn heels for a total of 20 minutes the past 2 years.
Yeah, I guess since COVID, like no one,
they weren't any of those shoes because there's heels upstairs in her actual rotation that she rarely wears. And I put the box out, and she's like, "I wear these." I'm like, "The motherfucker, do you?" Like 2 of the shoes had mold on them.
You should have timestamped, like you really wrapped it up and be like
how they do with the 15-minute parking, they chalk the tires.
Yeah, or just like put a piece of tape on it and be like taped August August 2021.
Those things would be so brittle by the time she. I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, I better see you wear these damn heels.
Did she take them back?
Yeah, they're sitting in my goddamn fucking living room now.
God, she'll wear them out of spite now.
Well, then it's a win.
I win either way. I guess. Did you have any people like people that pissed you off? I mean, aside from the Marilyn Monroe lady, like anybody who just like wanted to I mean, you're selling the shit so cheap. I don't feel like there was any need for it.
There was no haggling. Although, no, this I don't say pissed me off, but there's a guy he had. They kind of bundle stuff together.
Yeah,
and that's fine. And a super nice guy. But I had this like Guns N' Roses book, which one of my favorite books of all time. It's probably like a $30 book, like a big picture book,
and then a coffee table book kind of thing.
Yeah, but like more words than a typical. But yeah, like, and then Steven Adler's book, which is also
that's the drummer, right?
Yeah, it's also a great book. And I probably paid $50 for the 2, and I was like $10 for both. And he carried it around for a little while. I was like, okay, and then I started getting. Like, man, I don't really want to sell that.
They were your shoes. They were
right. And then he didn't buy them, so I was like, okay. I ended up actually donating them to the Goodwill today. But okay, so
the books,
I donated anything that didn't sell, gone.
It's so funny that you were having sellers remorse, I guess, and then you still got rid of them anyway.
Yeah, because then I realized I'd have to bring them downstairs, and I'm like, I'm really never gonna do anything with these books.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything with 2 years. There's one thing. Okay, so I have these vintage handles. They're like the mid-century these handles actually. These little V's. Okay.
Yeah.
They're like mid-century modern handles. You see them on the old 50s kitchen sets, like cabinets. And I got them out of an actual set. When I have a house that I flipped, and I just took the handles off. Anyway, I spent time. Brushed them all up, got them all chrome looking because they were kind of rusty and dusty looking. And I have about 12 of them. And on eBay, one handle pull runs about $20. And I probably had 12, and now I got 10. And the original screws, everything, like beautiful. And I just haven't found something to use them.
Yeah,
so I put them out. I put 10 of them out. And this lady's like looking at one. And I'm like, what are you doing with one handle pull for one? But then she was like,
most things have two,
at least two.
Yeah, at least two.
So she was like, how much? I'm like, $5. Like literally they're $20 straight online. And then I'm like, you know what? I hope she doesn't buy this. And she didn't. And while she was there, I picked them up and I took them back in my garage.
You had 19 of them.
Right. Yeah. Right. So that was my one thing. And my justification was I'd probably have a couple $100 in handles if I would have pieced them out. But plus, I still think they look good if I want to like redo a piece of furniture.
Yeah.
But it was just, and they don't take up a lot of real estate. It's just like a little
they're
tiny,
just handles.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'll bring those back.
Mm-hmm.
And then my neighbor who just moved in down the street was, he got 2 dumpsters in front of his house. And he's like, community dumpster day.
Oh, okay.
So everything that I didn't sell, packed in my truck, drove it half a block away, dumped it in his dumpster. And then I got a little guilty. I'm like, should we take some of this stuff to the Goodwill? She's like, yeah. So I threw up the rest of it, went to the Goodwill. And let me say, I've never been to the Goodwill. Like, I've never donated officially to the Goodwill. And I was like, I don't feel like doing this on Saturday. It's gonna be a whole rigmarole. She's like, let's just do it. Let's get it done because whatever. I'm like, all right, fine. So we go to the Goodwill, and it's like donations around back. Pull around back. It is the most efficient process
I've known. Yes,
ever.
I was about to say that.
I pulled up. 2 guys just started unhauling it. Was like, do you want these bins? And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, nah, actually, I don't want anything.
Mm-hmm.
Took it out. 3 minutes later, it's like, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I pulled out. I
think they want, because you're giving them shit that they're going to sell for free.
Right.
So the bottom like the only thing they could do is just make that process as easy as possible.
Right, but I didn't think I didn't know I thought I was going to ring the bell.
Yeah,
like wait for somebody to come out.
Yeah, and you go to a Goodwill and it's like a shit show in there.
Right.
So it's just
a lot of those people I think are volunteers.
Yeah, I think you're right. They are volunteers.
Because do you remember when Jason and Carrie got married?
Yeah.
And then they got arrested on their wedding night.
yeah. I wasn't going to say that, but yeah.
I won't tell the story because it's not my story to tell.
Yeah.
But their sentence, I guess, was volunteering so many hours at the Goodwill. So that's what they had to do for their community service was work like 6 Saturdays or something at the Goodwill.
I mean, I guess they made out in the deal.
I mean, I guess so if that's what you consider.
God, it is not our story to tell, but I legit can't remember exactly. I'll have to ask you off. Well,
I just actually, ironically enough, I mean, we can gloss over the story for the listeners, right? I feel like that's. I mean, it's not a secret. People,
everyone at their wedding that went to the after hour thing,
right,
witnessed what it was.
But I feel like they could probably tell the story better.
Yeah.
But anyway, after the wedding and after the reception, next door was a Fridays, and all of us go over to Fridays, and we were kind of hooping it up, and then Nicole and I left. Like right before this incident. So like I get all this from secondhand because I wasn't there to witness it. There was undercover cops there or off duty, but in plain clothes or something in that regard. I'm not sure whether they kicked them out because they were, and then Jason was like, "Who are you?" Because he just thought it was some guy in plain clothes.
Yeah.
And then it just all went down. Like the guy like threw him on the ground, and then of course a drunken wedding party from there, you just think it's a bar fight.
I must have left by the time that happened too, because I would have at least been outside, been like, "Oh shit!" But I'm pretty sure
I can hear you saying those exact words, exactly like that.
But I'm pretty sure I had to have left because I definitely would have. That's probably why I remember the next day hearing about it. So,
and what I thought was funny, which I learned this weekend at my fantasy drafts, BJ, him and his then wife used the honeymoon suite.
Oh, really?
Yeah, used Jason, and he was like taunting him that he ate his chocolates.
Why let it go to waste?
Right. Well, I mean, truthfully, yeah. Why let it go to waste?
Yeah.
But then they got divorced. So I'm thinking like that has to be a bad omen to use somebody else's honeymoon suite on the honeymoon night. Like how often does that happen? Like that you don't get to use your own honeymoon and somebody else uses it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely true. Did he ask to use it?
I don't know. Like, because Jason got arrested, so he might push him in the cop car. Like,
let me get your card. Let me get your key card.
I'll have to ask him.
Oh,
how that happened.
Changing topics a little bit, but Friday we went out and my wife and she wanted to look at furniture. So I was like, oh fuck, I don't feel like looking at furniture. So we go to leave and I walk by the thermostat and I was like, huh, thermostat set for 72 and it's 76 in here. I was like,
that's peculiar.
Yeah, I was like, that's a little odd. That's a little odd.
Must be on break.
Yeah. And then so we go out and my wife in the back of her mind was like,
I'm surprised she didn't notice because women normally are pretty sensitive.
So she did. Okay. So she did. And when we were out and she's looking at furniture, she had like she found something she liked, but she was like, let me hold back because I don't know what the air conditioning situation is going to be when we get home. I don't want to drop $2,000 for a new 2 fucking chairs. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then we come home and then we have this thing going on. But we come home that night, 78 it's 78 in the house. I call somebody to come out and look at it, and then they're like, the lines are frozen. It shows that there's a leak and we can't do it. And then of course he's like, well, it's reading that it's 4 pounds short on Freon. And I was like, okay. And they're like, the Freon you used, and I was like, here it goes, is like R22 or whatever it is.
You don't want to hear R22.
Yeah. So he's like, that we call that in the business liquid gold. And I was like, of course that's the fucking one that I got. fucked.
Yeah, the older system.
Yeah, it's an older system.
Your house is pretty new, so you guys must have been right on the cusp of them switching from R22 to 410.
Yeah, so it was built in like 2005, so it had to be like right around that area.
Yeah, right
around that time frame. So then we're like, all right, and he's like, it'll be like $1,400 to fill up. And he couldn't do anything because the lines were frozen.
Right.
So he was just like, we can check it and then check for problems. But so we were like, well, how much is a new system? Kind of got a rough estimate. And I was like, all right. And I called around to a couple people. I talked to like you and then people who gave me prices. Like he was right on with the price that everybody else was saying. So I was just like, all right. So I don't feel like it's too crazy. But so we'll have a guy come out. So the guy comes out the next day, and it's kind of like one of those situations because like you were like, oh, I got a guy that could do it, but I'm like, I want it done as soon as possible. I want it done like today.
I could have got it done for you.
Yeah.
I wish you would have called me.
Yeah, but I was just like, so the guy comes into my house and stuff like that and does the thing and then ends up selling us, and we decide that we'll just replace the whole thing. We replace the air conditioning, the heating,
right.
the entire HVAC system. Then they were like, we can do it on Monday, on Labor Day. So this guy, Butch, comes to my house and he pulls up in a Camaro.
Beautiful. That's the guy I want swapping out my HVAC system. I'm telling you. Fucking 2 Monster energy drinks.
Oh, yeah. So he comes up.
Shout out to all my HVAC guys because they all live on fucking Monster energy drink. Every single HVAC guy I've ever known, Monster Energy.
Yeah.
Shout out my HVAC workers.
And so he comes up and he's got his like, usually with like bigger companies when you do it, they got a uniform that they got to wear.
Right.
Fuck, Butch did not.
Not on Labor Day.
Motherfucker
got called in.
Yeah, exactly. He got called in and he was just like, hey man, he's like, it's a holiday. He's like, I'm trying to get this done. And he's like, I saw you live in Essex. He's like, I love Essex. That's why I drove my Camaro down. And
where's yours? Up on blocks in the back?
Yeah. And he's just like, yeah, after this, I think I may go to Riverwatch. I was like, sorry, buddy, it's closed. But he's like, I may go. So
Pizza John's.
Yeah, I was like, there's a place, and I just like gave him a couple places that he can go to when he comes over. And then he did the replacement outside, and he kept being like, because it's hot as shit. It was hot as shit. But he kept wanting to.
Got rinse off in your shower.
I can't. You know how it's like. I don't like people. Like I don't want to hover over people.
Don't hover.
But I also feel bad. Here they are doing stuff for my ass. But I just sat on my couch and like watch TV, and then
that's all they want you to do.
And when I left, I ran out for a minute. And I was like, "Hey, do you guys need anything? I'll pick something up for you." He's like, "Can you give me a 2-liter Sprite?" And I was like, okay, I'll get you. I was like, anything else? And he's just like, no, I'll give you some money for it when you come back. I was like, no, don't worry, I got your 2 liters, right? But then he just like, it's like, you got a cup with ice, and I was like, yeah, I got all the ice you need. I got all the ice you need, bud.
My freezer works.
Yeah. So he's just like sitting there, just like down, like in my kitchen, like down in fucking Sprite, like
sweating all over your table. God, and shit.
Yeah, he's sweating all over the place. But they got it done that day and everything like that. Right around the corner now is fucking fall, so it's probably like the last hot weekend.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is.
That's why we didn't record, because I had somebody come out to my house to do that stuff.
I had a handyman one time. I don't use him any longer because he was a bit strange. I never seen him eat anything. Hot, it could be 100 fucking degrees, and a lot of times when you're working on a house in full gut, like the HVAC's not working, like shit isn't working. All he would drink is milk, plain white 2% milk.
What?
And it would just be sitting out all day, and he would just go swig it out of the fucking, like the mini carton. I don't even know what it is, like the thin, like it's not quite, maybe a half gallon.
Yeah,
it's just fucking milk.
Milk was a bad idea.
He just fucking drank milk.
God, that is so gross.
It was I couldn't use them anymore.
Because the milk just weirded you out.
It just weirded me out because no normal person is like normal everything else and then just only drinks milk. You know what I mean? Like there's like that might be that's a symptom of some other lifelong weird decisions that made into this dude what he is today.
Doing drugs, and then probably the milk intensified it, so it kept him going longer.
Yeah, I don't know.
That is so gross. There is nothing I want less in life on a hot day than milk.
Yeah, and you're like working and like you're sweating. You know, it's not a clean environment.
Yeah.
You know, you're dusty, you're dirty, you're sweating, and then you go just drink fucking warm milk.
No, he didn't even put it in a fucking cooler or anything.
I will credit, or I don't even know if it's credit or discredit, but he is the reason that I started liking country music.
Oh, really?
Because
at least he gave you something.
He gave me something. I have this general rule in any of my job sites. The first guy there controls the radio. Like that's just kind of what we do. So he would always obviously get there before me, and he always had this little radio, just that old ancient one speaker on the side, black radio, knob dial.
Oh, and it had the handle at the top. Yeah,
and it still had to pull up the antenna.
Yeah.
Like just this dude, he probably found it in a scrap heap, and it just worked, and that's what he used.
Probably somebody, your dad's yard sale. Yeah.
But he would just listen to 93.1, which is a country station. And I absolutely hated country. And this one song would come on, and it was like, I don't hate that as much. And then the next day it was like, it's all right. By the third day, like I'm singing the chorus.
Wearing a cowboy boots and hat.
That came like 2 years later, 3 years, maybe longer, probably like 7 years. But by the fourth day, I'm driving home like, man, I want to listen to that song. And I fucking programmed 93.1 into my fucking truck. And that song, anyway, for anybody who cares, was Brantley Gilbert, Bottoms Up. That was the first. And it's not even a country song. It's more like, it's like, if you heard it, it would just be like a rock song.
Yeah.
Like maybe like a lighter rock with a little bit of, medium rock. Now twangy as shit.
You want to free Zach Bryan from his arrest?
I saw he got arrested, but I didn't read the article.
It was like he was like
arguing with a cop or something.
Kinda, it was something like that. Just he apologized and everything right away.
I did see.
So it wasn't like anything cool. So it was just, I think he was driving. He ended up getting arrested for like obstruction. So it wasn't
some bogus charge.
Yeah,
the cops just wanted his picture. They wanted. I mean, sometimes it's what it is. Like they bring him in because they want attachment to that.
Person. He's like, I want first dibs in the queue when your tickets go on sale.
Well, like he was fighting the good fight, Zach Bryan, on his last tour. He was anti-Ticketmaster because he hated Ticketmaster and all their fees.
Yeah.
So his entire tour last time was no Ticketmaster. But he quickly fucking realized
that they own all the venues too.
Right, and that's what is this, because he was, I would say, on the come up, but like within the country industry, he was a real deal. Like he was a real artist.
Yeah.
And I think he wanted to keep that persona.
He can't shoot himself. Yeah, shoot himself in the foot with not being able to play certain areas.
Right, and that's what he realized, that he could only play smaller venues.
Yeah.
But his ticket, like, it kind of pissed me off because Nicole and I have always wanted to go to Red Rocks. And he was playing at Red Rocks. So I was like, okay, I'll fly out to Red Rocks, kill two birds with one stone,
Yeah.
But you had to do this whole queue thing, like they're doing the big concerts now, and I didn't get it. But you can only also buy 2 tickets. And you can't resell them at all. Like you can't even just resell them for like they're yours, go or don't.
Yeah, the Cure concert was like that. Like I bought 4 tickets, but I couldn't forward them to the other person.
Right.
So
it was crazy.
Yeah.
But we ended up not getting him anyway. So his tour obviously sold out, but this time he's using Ticketmaster.
Yeah. I mean, you got to. You have to.
And that's, people saying he's a sellout, this and that, but it's one, if you're an artist, like you only have a small, most artists, right? You have that small window, 3-4 years to cash in, and then you're all news. You know what I mean? Like your 3rd album, 4th album, like nobody fucking cares. So you don't have forever. I mean, there's very few artists that last.
Yeah.
Like The Cure, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they can. he'll be touring in a fucking wheelchair and it'll still sell out.
Yeah,
because
that's
exactly.
what he
does. Not everybody has it. So like this is his big tour.
And then like the music people that could make a big difference with Ticketmaster or just kind of have like a Taylor Swift, like have legs to stand on to kind of force the subject. They don't. So then.
Right.
No one like what the fuck do they?
Can't.
What the fuck do
I
they?
mean, I know
care?
Pearl Jam tried it back in the day, and they were unsuccessful.
Yeah.
When you're fighting the people who own the venue, and you have to, if you want to play that venue, you got to buy tickets through them.
Yeah.
You're just not going to play that venue, and then you're pissing off your fans in that city because you're not playing in that city.
Exactly, because you're just you can't you don't want to. You're gonna piss somebody off fan wise.
Right. So you might as well just make the money.
Yep.
Cash
you might as well just do it.
Fucking cash in.
But
much like this podcast.
yeah, exactly. Isn't it funny how all of a sudden, as soon as it goes from like August to September, like motherfuckers are just crazy that it falls here, like, and it drives me up a wall because summer's the best season.
Hands down.
Summer's easily the best season. And people tend to forget that towards like the latter part of the summer because they're like, oh, it's hot and things like that.
They've already done all the cookouts. Because summer is the beginning of summer when you think in your mind, I got all summer. Right, I got all summer. You can't even imagine life after summer because summer's gonna be so long. And then all of a sudden it's 4th of July and you're like, all right, summer's half over.
Yeah, I know. You got 1.5 good months, right. And then it's already. But it is fucking nuts how it is just like people are talking about, like you see fall clothes.
My wife just asked me for pumpkin spice coffee tonight she's like, yeah, we got any pumpkin spice? I'm like, no, did you buy any pumpkin spice?
I know.
Like it just came out like an hour ago.
My daughter, while she was here during the summer, worked at Starbucks, and she said
She just got a job for the summer at Starbucks?
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, so she just worked 40 hours a week all the way through the summer just so she had money to spend at school.
She give you a discount?
Yes, if you went, I never went there, so I don't like Starbucks coffee.
I'm not a big Starbucks fan.
But one day she was sitting there and she told my wife, she says, PSLs are back September 2nd, and I was like, what the fuck's
I got it right away.
What the fuck is
as
PSL?
Soon as you said it, like,
and then she's like, pumpkin spice latte, and I was like, everything you said in that sentence makes me hate it. It makes me hate fall even more. Like, pumpkin's not that good. I
gotta disagree with you on like, I mean, I do. Okay, so summer, hands down, my favorite.
Yeah,
but I can pick things I like out of fall. Winter, not so much, but spring certainly.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that's great about living in Maryland because you actually get 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Although,
they bleed in and things like that.
Somebody's, we didn't have a fall this year.
Yeah.
We got spring. When every old lady you ever meet will do the little stop and chat. Oh, we didn't. It went straight from winter to summer. It's not the heat, it's the humidity. Like it's
every fucking person in Maryland says that shit.
And but one thing I do like is right around Halloween when it actually is getting cold, apple cider, like spiked apple cider.
Oh yeah, I am partial.
At a good corn maze.
Yeah, I am partial to apple cider, like because it tastes like fucking straight apples. Like sometimes apple juice doesn't really taste like.
No, I actually hate apple juice. I can't drink apple juice, but I can drink apple cider.
Apple cider tastes so fucking good. I always get like a gallon of it from somewhere.
I do too. I never drink it all.
I throw half of it. Like it's so good, and then you're just like, this. Oh, well, maybe I'll mix it with some vodka or rum or something like that.
You never do it at home.
No, you never do it at home.
But there is, and that window might be the same window for everybody. The window might be like 4 hours to where you're like, apple cider, spike it with something.
Yeah.
Like some cinnamon rum or cinnamon vodka or something. And you're sitting around with, everybody, or we're at there's a corn maze up here where everybody does, and everybody spikes their fucking apple cider. And that's when it's delicious. And you think, I'm going to recreate this shit at home all fucking fall, all Halloween. And that's it. that apple cider looks at me every time I open the fridge and I don't grab it.
And then
finally I grab it and I dump it out weeks later.
Because you start to turn it and all the sediments at the bottom, and you're like, fuck this thing. I'm not going to do it.
I'm not the same person I was when I was at the corn maze, motherfucker. You ain't getting drunk.
I know. Soon after that first one, you're like, fall's half over. Yeah. But it is like, the people just fucking go crazy for fall, and then people like are crazy for Halloween, and like ramping up, like, and people. I've seen people already have Halloween decorations out.
Now, that's stupid because one, you already skipped over Thanksgiving, and if you're like a holiday decorator, how you gonna skip Thanksgiving?
Well, Halloween is before Thanksgiving.
Well, that's why you wouldn't skip. Touche.
Yeah. So driving up here tonight, I saw. I was listening to the Oriole game, and there was an advertisement for Kim's Crypt. And
they do start advertising early.
Kim's Crypt in Maryland, in Baltimore County, there is a haunted house, and it is in a mall. Like, now it's migrated to East Point Mall.
Holy shit, that's scary as hell just in itself, man. That gave me chills thinking to go to East Point Mall for anything.
It's the worst mall in the entire world. But if you drive around the corner, like, there is Kim's Crypt.
Like in an Old Value City or something?
Yeah, all set up. And the woman, have you ever seen her drive around?
No.
She drives, of course.
A hearse?
Yes.
Then maybe I have, and I'm like,
she drives a hearse with like fucking, zombies hanging arms out of the side
just
of it.
all the time.
All the time. Like, it'll be the middle of summer.
Those people are fucking weird. You know what I mean? Like, they're just weird people.
I know. It's just so crazy. So, but if you have some fall stories you wanna talk about, give us a call at 856 the JJS.
We actually still have a telephone number.
I fixed it. Yeah.
And check out the description of this podcast. Check out our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook.
Thanks everybody for listening to Inappropriate with Jim and Steve.
Thanks for sharing the podcast. And if you haven't shared, then shame on you. Shame.
You're an asshole.
Shame. Shame. Share the podcast.
Yep. All right, that'll do it for us this week. I'm Steve.
I'm Jim.
See you.